faith of a mustard seed. Get up on your feet, rise up.
Hello, welcome to another segment of the Draxwell SEMO Show. Today it's my pleasure to have as a guest on my show a local boxer, someone who has been able to transform over 300 young people here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Unfortunately, he faced some trials and situations which you'll later see during this interview. But here he is today. He has overcome those situations. And I hope at the end of this interview that you are inspired by the journey that Mr. Joseph went through. And that whatever situation you're in, you can also overcome it. And with that said, I just want to welcome Mr. Joseph to the Draxwell SEMO Show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Sure.
Jim, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you grew up and how life was growing up. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Once again, my name is Jim Kelly Joseph, born here in Turks and Caicos Islands in Grand Turk. Grew up in Provo in the Bight settlement. Had a pretty good upbringing. Of Haitian descent as well, but I consider myself as a Turks and Caicos Islander because this is my home and anything I do is for my people. And like I said, I had a pretty good upbringing, the normal, and the 90s to the 2000s, the transition, more principle and morals that we grew up on. And had a few times staying in the US as well with my mom. But other than that, I'm pretty straightforward as far as the normal teen, adolescent, and adult lifehood. And got into sports pretty early. Basketball was first, then boxing. Gravitated to boxing more because of the discipline behind it. And that's something my grandfather really loved. I didn't know why at first, but now boxing actually helped save my life in many aspects of its discipline.
Oh, well, tell us more about the discipline aspect of boxing. I'm very curious to hear that.
That four corners in the boxing ring is actually spelled L-I-F-E or D-E-A-D. So
really?
Yeah. When you walk in that ring, it's just you and your opponent and the ref. You choose if you're gonna walk in and choose L-I-F-E or D-E-A-D. And that decision is critical because no matter how many times you train, it takes 1 second to hit you. In life, you can study for as much as you want or do whatever you want in life. But when that critical time comes, some persons hit that ground and never get up. I'm not the person to make the ground my own. And boxing taught me to stay humble and keep on my 10 toes.
Wow. And you also try to rejuvenate the boxing
Of course, yeah.
federation
Yes.
in Provo, right?
Yes, I started the Boxing Federation October of 2015 because 2 words, and it's gonna sound funny. I'm pregnant. So actually, before I had a big work field. My work field was in the hotel industry, as concierge and all of that stuff. But to now know I'm going to be a father, that actually helped me to invest more into myself. And what actually helped me become a better person was through the sport of boxing. That no matter how much trials and tribulations I've been through, instead of taking that negative energy and just throwing it out there, I changed that negative energy into positive energy. So with that, I said, you know what? Why keep it to ourselves? None of our previous teachers kept it to themselves. They always wanted to pass that on. And at that time, that new generation, a lot of kids didn't lean on principles and morals as I did growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I'm like, okay, why don't I use this to help shape our new kids? And when I started the federation, I had a group of young, vibrant individuals who helped me brought that dream forward.
Right.
So fruitful. It was very, very, very good that what we did with these kids. And I'll tell you what, therapeutic it was also for
I believe
myself.
that.
And to see the changes of kids that were on different sides of the islands, different headspace and different attitudes come together as one under one sport, that was my reward.
Yeah,
and I wanted to use that to not only just here in Provo, but shape it around the whole Turks and Caicos. And boxing is a big sport all over the world. So why not do something here with it?
That's very rewarding. Now, was Gary Lappin at any point involved in this? I know he really.
He was and he wasn't. He was because he had his own avenue. You know, previously he did his own. He had his career, and I respect him very, very much because he's a giant in the islands. A lot of people take him for granted.
Yeah.
But he's well respected in my books. But through my journey, we didn't intertwine as much.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't want to really. I've learned from person's mistakes, and I'm kind of a little stubborn. I like to do things my way because I know when I do it, I get it done.
Okay.
And that's one thing my grandfather always said: do it yourself. That way, you know you get it done. Sometimes I bite off more than I can chew, which I can't
Well, that happens
admit
to most
as
of us.
a man. But at the same time, hey, I like to get things done.
That's what it should be about anyway.
Yes.
Getting things done. Many of us, we talk a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, and we complain a lot.
Yes.
But the real thing is when you get things done.
Yes. Yes.
You know. So tell us about this experience that caused you to end up in jail. How you know?
Prison, actually.
In prison.
Yes.
And when did this happen?
Happened 2018, actually.
2018.
November 12, 2018 is when I was sentenced.
Remember the date?
Yeah, I'm very good with dates, especially what I've been through. Dates were pretty important to me. Possession of a firearm, illegal firearm and ammunition is what I was charged with. How it came about, it shouldn't have happened. Yet being sidetracked after I was supposed to turn it in, it did not happen. I take my full wrong, my full responsibility for it. And as to why I can say comfortably, like, I accept whatever happened to me because God has a way of working mysteriously. Because when I went in 2018, a wave of crime slewed in Turks and Caicos. So maybe he said, you know what, I'm going to need you later on in life. Come here, let me put you over here. I didn't like where he put me.
Interesting.
But at the same time, you don't question God. So 4 years, 6 months, 9 days, 15 hours, 37 minutes is what I spent.
Wow, you got that right down pat.
To the T. Also at that time, that's the time I was away from my son.
How old was your son?
My son is now 7. He's going to be 8 in a few days, actually.
So he was about 3
years old. I left about 7 weeks after my son turned 3.
Oh, man.
And never saw him physically till I was released earlier this year in May.
Wow.
So imagine being a proud father, and everyone who knows me, my son is my heart. My son is my world.
I believe that.
He's the reason why we're sitting here today having this interview. Because I could have been a regular person and just say, okay, I'm having a kid and that's it. I chose to invest in my life, and I chose to invest in people, and I chose to be better because of that young man.
Wow.
My father at the time didn't instill that in me or didn't have that time for me because he had his life. I was not going to make that similar mistake. I was not going to fall into that regular trend of fathers not taking care of their kids.
Right.
Anyone who knows me or any youth or I've been involved with, I love children. I want to be involved in the upbringing as much as I can,
Right.
positively in any kid's life,
Yeah.
including my own.
Yeah. I believe that the fact that you formed the Boxing Federation,
Yes.
I think, speaks volumes that you
Yes.
want to make a difference. You got to keep, like you say, you got to keep that to yourself.
For
You want
sure.
to help other people. So,
And a lot of these
I believe
kids
what you're
nowadays, trust me, they get sidetracked and they it's parents. I must commend the parents because they try. They try. Some parents,
Yeah.
a lot of them, kids are in single homes. Some mothers work 2 jobs. Some fathers work 2 jobs, and they don't have that time. So I didn't want to just start the Boxing Federation just to talk and just get kids punching off bags. No, I wanted to instill what it is, the code that saved my life, which is humble, respect, discipline. I actually have it tattooed on my back.
Oh,
And that's the code that I live by. Because in life,
humble,
respect,
discipline.
discipline.
Okay.
Those 3 words, trust me, it would save you, it saved me. And that's what I try to instill in anyone I came in contact with. Why? Because no matter how rich or whatever you is in this world, if you're not humble, you're no one. Respect, of course, you give respect, you earn respect. You have to first respect yourself, and then you'll be able to respect others. And discipline is doing what you sometimes don't want to do, but you continue on that path to say, I'm going to wake up 5 o'clock every morning and train. I'm going to go to work every day because Ford is not giving you no chance on these bills. You understand? So like Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And I thought I was humble before, but to be at your lowest, being alive, it teaches you.
Right.
It puts that big mirror in your face, and you have to look at that every day. And now I can say comfortably that I'm humble.
Good. So let us go back to you in possession of this weapon, right?
Yes.
Weapon. Didn't you hand that in right away?
It's my fault. Why? It's my fault because I at the time I was trying to open my gym, and
you just forgot that?
It's not really forgotten away. I didn't thought it was important at the time, which I took. It was not supposed to happen, and I should have acted sooner, which I didn't, and I lost 4 years of my life.
Yeah. And then how did the cops retrieve that? How were they able to get the firearm?
Well, it was an operation that happened, and like I said, to be honest, not going into detail of it because it's from the past.
Yeah.
The cops acted on intelligence, and they did their job. We can't blame anyone. They acted on intelligence, and they did what they had to do, and charges were met.
So they came to your house?
Sure, they did. And like I said, whatever happened, it happened.
Yeah.
And I leave that behind.
Right. No, we're asking those questions anyway, so people watching
could
understand
yes.
too that perhaps they won't make that same mistake.
No, seek help.
Yeah.
My mistake was pride sometimes gets the best of me, especially as us men. You know, sometimes it's not you shouldn't be prideful enough or stubborn enough to say, hey, give a call and be like, hey, I have this going on right now. Help me. A lot of persons are afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. And I guess you didn't even think.
No, I didn't.
You didn't even think that you wasn't expecting anybody to come to your house.
No.
I believe eventually you'll be able to turn it in. But you were busy doing something else.
Exactly.
You know. So,
I didn't take it as serious as I can.
Yeah. So that's a lesson in itself
Yeah.
for someone watching the show.
For sure.
You know, and take it for granted. You know, get rid of it right away. Otherwise, it's gonna be hard to convince the judicial system because you know, obviously you didn't convince them because you end up going to jail.
Yes. And at that time, it was clean cut that once in possession of a firearm, this is what happened.
No matter how you got it.
No matter how you get it. And I still think I was dealt a bad stick, but at the same time, because I've seen what happened to after me. But hey, not every day is Sunday on your head, no?
You mean when you say dealt a bad stick, you mean the sentencing?
The sentencing and the way I was actually dealt, because with the impact I had and the positivity I had in the community, I felt as if I should have not a little bit more lenient in a way because of what. But then at the same time, hey, they say that the law is for everyone, but sometimes it's not.
That's how it appears. It's not for everybody.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to shine light on the judicial system and tell them that they need to practice what they preach, but at the same time, why take a young man from his family who actually made one simple mistake? Yes, that mistake could have been grievous through law, but at the same time, with good conversation comes great reward. So, like I said, I'm over it now.
Yeah.
I prayed about it,
Yeah.
and I asked God to forgive my heart and then, wash my hands clean. But at the same time, that's a lesson in itself that won't happen again.
Right.
I could tell you definitely no one's taking me from my son again.
Right. So, do you mind telling us about how life was in prison?
You think you're tough mentally?
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy, my friend. To know that you were in that path, going right, trying so hard to win many hearts positively, to actually be shut down from life, to be told when to wake up, when to eat, when to sleep. You have another person of different spirit and different energy on top of your head every morning or below or whatever, farting and this and doing whatever, pleasing themselves every day. It's not easy, man. It's not easy. And to be that independent person that I am, that strong person that I am, you're not bigger than the system, man. You're not bigger than the system. But the system is not bigger than God. That's what they fail to realize also. So I kept faith in myself. I kept faith in God. And a lot of people fail to realize that they believe in God, but trusting in Him is a different thing.
Yeah.
See, I trusted in God, and that's what they thought they had me. Mentally, I went through every emotion known to man. Anger, pain, sorrow, fear. You trust me, you wouldn't believe me sitting here today, what I've been through.
Wow.
But I kept the faith.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I'm a super Christian and the Holy Spirit. No. Starts here first.
All right.
Starts here first. I don't give up. Yeah. Anyone who knows me, I got scars to prove it. Yeah. I don't give up. You gotta come way harder than that.
Wow.
Because you see, my God, He don't leave no one behind.
He doesn't.
Nobody.
He doesn't. So He'll never leave us.
So
He'll not forsake us.
I could tell you this comfortably that going through what I went through, it showed me that, one, who my people is, two, who I am, because I needed that reflection.
Yeah.
I needed that. Why? Because I thought I was the Superman. I could get everything done. I could do this. And where I went wrong, everything I accomplished in life, I didn't give thanks when I should have. So He had to bring me back down to reality and let me say, hey, I'm going to start you back at zero and showed you who actually gave you those blocks. So I had to reconstruct my foundation.
That's interesting.
Went in at 25, I came in out at 30. So now I have a strong enough foundation now.
Right.
I don't think nobody could break down.
Right.
So now I can now practice what I preach, that humble respect, discipline. So to have certain prison guards look at you in your face and say, man, you always remain positive. You're always a good person. You help stop fights. You always that. You shouldn't be here. But I always ask myself, why am I here? Because of my own mistake. So as a man, you have to understand, you have to take accountability for your actions. So I never shy away of saying, I'm wrong. So now I'm only here trying to be right now.
Right.
And I'm never afraid to ask for help. Talk to me. You understand?
Wow.
Talk to me.
So you say you spent 4 years.
4 years, 6 months, 9 days, 15 hours.
Okay, so what was the sentence?
7 years.
7
But
years.
you know, in British law, it's 2/3.
I see. Okay, so I was trying to figure out. So okay. So now that you spend that time in prison, you experience that time in prison. You see what's happening in Turks and Caicos now than ever before.
Wow.
We see such an increase in criminal activities. I guess that also prompt you more to do more help,
Yes.
to provide more help for our people.
Of course.
Because you don't want them to.
No. Because I've actually when I was in prison, I watched some of these guys come in and leave, and now I'm out, they're dead.
Oh wow.
It's a lot of them. Some I actually cut their hair before because I was a barber in prison.
Really?
Yeah, I was a barber in prison and a chef.
Really?
Yeah, I worked in the kitchen also. I did a lot in prison, trust me.
Okay.
So to see some of those guys that came in and you speak to them, old and young, that now they're not here, it helped me to realize, listen, you can't take life for granted. Sometimes you're placed in certain areas where you get the chance to reflect and say, you know what, I'm giving you one last chance. So when I bring you back out there, you know, if you go back in the same actions, this was what's gonna happen. So some persons weren't granted with that new chance. You know, I've been granted that chance that I walked out of that prison, and I still am okay mentally as far as what I know, but it's not easy to see someone today and then tomorrow they're gone. Yeah. I've lost a lot of friends. I've lost a lot of loved ones, some loved ones as well, and I've lost some persons I would say okay with, and they're not here today. But at the same time, I feel it's my calling to do right. Yeah. And help as much persons as I can. Yeah. And I'm not afraid to be helped myself.
And so now that you're out, you have reestablished the Boxing Federation?
Not as yet. I'm in process of doing so. Because I owe my son all the time.
I understand. I'm gonna spend some more.
It would be selfish of me to just jump in and please everyone else when he suffered more out of everything.
Absolutely.
To have his father taken away from him for all that time.
Absolutely.
So I have to take that into consideration first. But you know, since I've been home, oh my gosh, it still takes some time getting used to driving again. Yeah. Hearing keys without having to
almost 5 years you were away from that.
Hearing keys without having to look left and look right again. Now it's having your phone illegally now. But it's I owe it to my son because he was actually that focus, that tunnel vision that I have to get back home and be his daddy again.
I
You know,
can't blame you for that.
so a lot of persons fail to realize you need that pinpoint that gets you out, that keeps you on that track to get you out of that gate.
Yeah.
And he was that for me.
Right.
And secondly, it was the youth that I dealt with prior. And I owe it all to them too, because a lot of them reached out when they didn't have to. They could have just forget about coach. But those kids, man, I love them dearly.
Yeah. I know you do.
I love them dearly. Youth of the Federation, I can tell you this comfortably. I love them dearly because it hadn't been for them.
Yeah.
And just, them being ready for coach to come back home again, I owe it to them also.
Yeah. When you were in prison, were you able to convince or be able to mentor anyone in prison
A lot.
to transfer their lives?
Of course.
It
I
worked.
never stopped mentoring.
And it worked?
It worked. You only could take a horse to the well, but you can't force that horse to drink.
Absolutely, right.
So therefore, it worked. I helped a lot, trained a lot of kids, and a lot of persons in there. I trained a lot of persons, even some wardens. You understand? And so, doing that, and I actually even had boxing classes in prison.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had gloves and everything in prison, training some persons in prison. And I can tell you this comfortably, it wasn't easy to have to deal with what you're going through and still trying to help someone else.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to set aside your problems just to help someone else. It's not easy.
No.
Sometimes laying in that bed and looking at all 17 bars is not easy. I think a lot of persons, and this is just me saying it, kind of being funny, in the judicial system need to spend a week in there so they can know to stop playing with people's time. Playing with people's time in the sense that I've had persons in there complaining they've been remanded for years. For what? Let's get it over with. Let's get it done. We have some persons who are in there innocent, and you have some persons who need to be in there. I'm gonna call it fair.
Yeah.
What happened to me could happen to someone else.
It
It can happen to anyone. But at the same time, it's our duty to ensure I don't want to say deal with it swiftly, but at the same time, let's get it done, because sometimes I can tell you, being in there, to realize waiting, a lot of people just don't have that patience. First and foremost, when you get in there, you're segregated. You're placed on a wing that you probably aren't good with certain people or whatever. Then you have all type of energy coming to you.
Oh.
Negative, positive, mainly negative. Now, some persons are not strong-minded like you and I to not taking some stuff. And then waiting, they changed. Some persons didn't go in there criminal. They came out of criminal because of that wait time.
Environment.
Exactly. Being around some negative energy.
Yeah.
So I say this to say that let's get it done.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I know a lot of times, with all the criminal stuff that's happening, we blame the government, we blame
Gotta blame ourselves.
we blame the commissioner of police, we blame the police officers, we blame the British. Of course, they have their responsibility.
Yes.
We must hold them accountable. They have different roles to play. But what do you think, based on your knowledge, what do you think is the root cause of this criminal activity that's taking place, and what do you think we need to do to help resolve some of these issues?
Honestly speaking, for the first part, it's not my position to judge or to blame anyone.
True.
Who cast the first stone? Who without sin cast the first stone? It's not
But we do a lot of that.
Exactly.
We do a lot of blaming.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
When you point at one person, 4 point back at you. So I don't blame no one. But what I can say, if you ask for my opinion on it,
Yes, your opinion.
I think a lot of persons need to listen. Some persons hear, but they don't listen to the people. Some of these kids just need attention. How can I come out of the bite, have no reason to start this boxing federation, and I was able to move 300 kids? How?
300 kids.
How can me, with no political ties, with no power, so to say, influence so many people? Because I chose to listen.
So that's probably perhaps that's how the gangs are able to
Yes, because
to attract people.
If mom and dad is not here in the house, and then you have gang leader number 1 and gang leader number 2 giving you your school money, helping you buy those new Jordans,
Giving you that attention.
helping you buy those new weave or whatever. So who you gonna lean towards more? Remember back then, we playing marbles in our yard. You go to the beach, mommy waiting on you with that switch. So now mom and dad is not here, and you spend 17 hours, 18 hours outside. You're feeding yourself in the morning. You're ironing your own clothes, all of that stuff. And guess who's helping you? The negative person. So who are you gonna lean more to? A lot of these kids just need that attention. And what I think our government should do is put rules in places to help these kids. You understand? It's like community foundations, charity works. Stop talking about it. Get it done. Youth centers should be in every settlement.
I agree. I believe yes. In every settlement.
In the U.S., there's YMCA's in every county. Youth centers should be in every settlement. Stop letting me see you every 3.5 years, 4 years when you're ready to run for elections again. That's why I made a comment in my prior interview. I would love to be in politics because
really?
I don't even want a payment. Just let me get it done.
But do you have to go in politics to make a difference?
I don't have to. And I made a difference without being in politics. So therefore, imagine if I had that one extra push that I could get some persons to get off their butt and get it done. And this is I'm not knocking any politician. You understand? Because everyone has their agenda, and I don't know what goes on behind it.
We didn't know how it works.
Yeah, I don't even know
until we get there and realize.
So I'm just speaking from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, let's get it done. We're a country, we're way too small to have all these problems.
Yeah, we're suddenly
way too small. And 12 murders, I think, now?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
We used to brag about being the lowest crime rate in the Turks and Caicos.
Never imagined Turks and Caicos would be this far.
Why?
Never.
We always want to blame this and blame that, but what about us? Can we blame now that the average Turks and Caicos Island is still working at minimum wage? Can we blame, who are we going to blame that we have so many persons coming in and telling us what to do, and now we have to get the crumbs? At first we sat at the table and eat a meal. Now we're getting leftovers. Now we barely invited to the table.
Well, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but we also, we can have our own table. We don't have to.
That's what I was going towards.
Let's have
our own table.
Yeah, we could do our own thing.
Let's stop complaining.
We
let's
don't
get
want
it
to take
done.
the risk to be that entrepreneur or be that leader. Sometimes a lot of us are just waiting.
But why do we feel so comfortable complaining if we
It's
don't
easy.
want to take that risk?
Because it's easy to complain.
Exactly.
It's easy to complain.
Let's get the work done.
You know, and I think if it takes a few of us, I think we'll be able to encourage others to do the same thing.
Exactly.
I have my own business. We have multiple businesses.
Understood.
Other people have their businesses and stuff like that. You know, I think it can be done.
It can be.
You know, I mean, let's look at those positive the positive things that do. Too many times we focus on negative stuff.
Yes.
And I believe that there are more positive things than there are negative. But because we focus so much on negative things,
very much more positive.
that becomes the narrative for our society, unfortunately.
Last time I checked, candy is sweeter than broccoli.
Yeah, you got that right.
So therefore, if somebody feeding you some negative juice, you're gonna go for it. A lot of persons before to drink juice before they drink water.
Yeah.
Give me water all day.
Yeah.
Water's life.
It is.
You
We need
understand?
water.
We need water.
We need water.
And I say this to say this, man. I just really hope these young men change their lives, man. I really, really hope, because we're losing them too much.
Too
For
fast.
no reason.
And too fast.
For no reason. My son has to grow up here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure he does not go in. Well, at the end of the day, he's going to be his own man eventually.
But you try.
But I'll try my best to keep him in a straight line.
Yeah.
And like I said before, with this boxing federation, I never called them just the youth of the boxing federation. I called them my kids. Because once you sign up, you become my kid. 3 o'clock in the morning, you don't see so-and-so, call me. Coach will be there. I go to graduations, I'll go to birthdays, don't matter. Because I'll show them that attention.
Yeah.
Because when you show them that you care genuinely, they respect you. Certain decisions they make, they want to make in life negatively, they won't make it because their coach is not going to like it.
Yeah. Jim, if you had to, looking back, what happened, you know, if you were to go through, what would you do differently
If I had to go through this
again?
number one, I won't go through it again because first and foremost, I would have definitely acted sooner.
Okay, you have to.
I would have acted sooner right away. And when I tell you first, if I knew this is what I would have went through, it would have never happened.
Got it.
But at the same time, I'm happy it happened. You're gonna be like, why you happy?
So there's some lessons you learned from it.
No, it showed me who I am.
I'll get you.
I thought I was strong before. I'm powerful now. Why I'm powerful now? Because now, at first, I believed in God, but I didn't trust. Now I trust in Him. I trust in myself. I walk more confident now. Because, not to say because what I've been through, but I got a chance to look within myself and take life for what it is and not take it for granted.
Yeah. And I know you never imagine he's going to go to jail.
No.
Never, you know.
Life is not a bed of roses. If people fail to realize roses have thorns. You understand? So I had to really like grab life by the reins and.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that day when the cops showed up to your house, when they showed, what did you be thinking they came there for?
I thought they got the wrong door.
Oh.
I was like, what? It still plays back in my head, April 4th, 2018.
Oh.
Yeah, still plays back in my head at 4:27 a.m. Still plays back.
And what did you learn from that lesson? Did you tell someone you had this gun and they perhaps told, I mean, I know you don't go too much details.
Yeah.
But.
We'll leave it at that.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
It happened. I went through what I went through. God is good all the time. I'm here now.
He is.
I'm here now.
He is.
Let's move forward.
Yes.
Let's move forward. I asked God for forgiveness. And when I was eligible for parole in 2021, which I didn't get.
Just 2 years ago.
Yeah, which I didn't get. And I sat down on my knees.
So you applied for it,
I applied.
You rejected
I was rejected.
Oh.
Yeah, it didn't sit well with a lot of persons. But at the same time, it's God's plan. Because at that time, I was still not reformed. Reformed in the sense to say I didn't forgive myself.
So you probably was still bitter, I guess.
Still bitter. I was still angry. I still blamed a lot of persons. And I asked God, I said, you know what? If this is your plan, when you let me out those gates, ensure that I walk that straight line.
Okay.
Ensure that I have nothing named vengeance towards anyone.
Okay.
Revenge, hate, anger. It took 29 more months.
Okay.
But I'm here now.
So you became more mature.
Way more mature.
And so
When you turn 30, that light turns on, my friend.
But what made you become mature?
Prayer. Patience. Understanding. I had to understand. And that's the hard part. A lot of people think they know. You have to understand what happened. I had to understand that, hey,
And accept it.
and accept that this is what happened. Oh,
Wow.
why? Oh, I helped all these people. No, my friend, you got caught with a firearm. This is the law.
That's the
I had
law.
to
It's
understand.
illegal. Wow.
And sometimes a lot of persons want to make excuses, which
Right.
I did prior.
Right.
No more excuses in my book.
Right. So a lot of people, I'm so glad how you raised the point about God,
Yes.
because a lot of our young people, I wrote an article a couple of weeks ago, and I was, I know and I was saying, we have a spiritual problem.
Yes.
Of course, a lot of people say that as well. I'm not the only one who's saying it. I said people who don't believe in God anymore, and those that we have people who don't fear God anymore. And I'm glad you brought up God, because your belief in God played a very important role in your life. So what are we going to say to those people out there who's saying that they don't believe in God, they don't have any fear for God? What can you tell us?
I can't force anyone to believe in a higher being. I can't. But what I can tell you is when you do, go wholeheartedly. You can't go half-stepping.
But your belief in God has helped you where you are today.
Where I am today. I didn't give myself my own breath. I don't beat my heart don't beat by itself. I don't wake myself up every morning. And I had to understand that there's no machine attached to me today. because of him. I'm okay mentally. I get to hug my son. I get to see him smile again. Through belief in God. He is here. You don't see the wind, but you feel it.
Sure.
He's here.
Sure.
So whoever God you believe in, Yahweh, Jah, you name it, go wholeheartedly. Because at the same time, when you hit rock bottom, why do you call for him? You have to call for him at the bottom, so as the top. I ignored him at the top. And that's why he had to bring me back down and showed me, hey, you ain't boss, I'm boss. So therefore, I trust in God wholeheartedly. I'm here today because of him. I went through what I went through because of him.
Right.
I'm
And
alive.
and that's the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac.
Yes, sir.
Just want to clarify, because people have all these different gods, you know.
Yes, sir.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for this powerful conversation. I know sometimes, you know, we go through a lot of things we didn't expect to go through, but you know, the God that we serve and believe in, he will turn those things into something great.
Yes, indeed.
And it's changed you for the better.
Yes, indeed.
Do you have any closing remarks other than what we already discussed that you'd like to share with the public?
Just I would love to lean on 3 words, like I said before: humble, respect, discipline. Take that time to, I don't want you to just find a Google dictionary meaning, but take that time to take those 3 words and see how it helps shape my life. Use me as an example of someone who literally went in and came out. Daniel went into the lion's den and he came out. Nobody knows how. You understand? So I say this to say that humble, respect, discipline is what helped me. Find out what can help you. But I'm just sharing those with you. You could use them, and you never know. We may save one or many more lives tomorrow.
Well, Jim, Joseph, Mr. Joseph, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Appreciate you.
For those who are watching the show, I hope that you are inspired. I know I am inspired by this story. And sometimes we take things for granted. And we see Jim, who was on his way, you know, transforming the lives of so many young people, and got caught up with an illegal weapon. It could happen to any one of us. He was innocently carrying this weapon, but of course, it's illegal to have an illegal weapon. And so he paid the price for the court, for the judicial system, for our law. It's against the law. And many of us get face that same situation. So whatever situation you're in, you know, as Jim, act, you know, immediately. Someone gave you something to do, act immediately, deal with it right away. And hopefully, you know, when you deal with it right away, they'll believe you and you won't have to spend that time in prison. But even though he did spend 4 years, 6 months in prison, he did learn a lot of lessons from it. And now that he went in there, I believe he's going to even make a more powerful impact to people, because he went in, he see what prison life is like, and hopefully he could use that time in his experience in prison to convince some of you others not having to go there. And so thank you very much for watching the show. Please remember to subscribe to the Drexel Seaman Show. Thank you.
1, run, 10, 9, push, 4, faster, 3, 2, 1, jack, push, don't stop yet, don't stop, the mic clock, stop, keep going, go, let's go, fight it, keep going, push, weep, back into that, let's go, push, good job, Renata. Push, come on. Push, come on. Push, come on.